Welcome to Social Aloe Ministries, where we are committed to glorifying God while exposing the devil. Sometimes the Lord gives you an opportunity to witness your enemy fall. And in your mind, you know that the person deserved it because the person sowed the wind and reaped the whirlwind. And also the Lord gave the person ample time to repent. But like Jezebel in Revelation 2, that person refused. And then the Lord did not delay his judgment any longer. Just want to remind you of the following though. In Proverbs 24, starting verse 17, rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth, lest the Lord see it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked, for there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. I know a few things about God, and one thing I know is that he is just. He is slow to anger, and he'll give people a lot of room to repent. But if they don't, then they're letting him know that they're willing to reap the consequences. Because the Bible also tells us, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. And we'll all reap what we sowed. Like I said earlier, some people have sown the wind and they're going to get the whirlwind. And when people have transgressed against you and the Lord allows you to see those people fall, just be careful about how you respond. In the book of Exodus, the Lord had Moses tell the Pharaoh on numerous occasions to let his people go. And then he finally did after being afflicted with 10 plagues. But then, after they let the Israelites go, the Egyptians pursued them. The Lord parted the Red Sea, and the Lord told them that the enemy that they saw on that day, they were not going to see anymore. And that sea enveloped the Egyptians and wiped out their army. That's Exodus 14. In Exodus 15, the Israelites, they rejoiced. But they were thanking the Lord for ensuring that the enemy that they had would never pose a threat. That the enemy they had would never pose a threat. And that is a comforting feeling to know that those who persecuted you will not be able to do so anymore. Many of you are going through persecution right now, and you're wondering what is taking the Lord so long. Like I mentioned, the Lord is slow to anger. He is just. So when he renders justice, it is because he gave that individual or those individuals multiple opportunities to repent, enough time to consider their actions. When they failed, then they pay the cost. In a lot of cases, those issues are salvation issues, whether the Lord is going to send those people to heaven or hell. And once a person reaches his or her final destination, that is it. There is no parole, getting off for good behavior in hell. It is forever. And the Lord does not want anyone to go to hell. He would much rather have people repent. But some people, they refuse to repent. And yes, he will send people to hell. David, I am not sure how he did this. That proverb tells us to not rejoice when we see the Lord afflicting our enemies. And that actually implies when the Lord is actually in the process of afflicting our enemies. But how about when our enemies die? Some people actually rejoice, but that is not that's not a good thing. But David's reaction in this case, I truly don't know how he did it. Because I just don't know how he did it. But I'll read. In 2 Samuel 1, King Saul had spent a lot of time not only persecuting David, he tried to kill him on multiple occasions. And you'd think that'd be a great source of joy, a great source of relief for David. But this was his reaction, starting 2 Samuel 1, verse 11. Then David took hold of his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men were with him, or that were with him, and they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. So the inclusion of Jonathan and the people of Israel, okay. But Saul's inclusion, I don't know. And David said unto a young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. David still showed Saul a lot of respect, the man who tried to kill him on so many occasions. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth had testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. But a part of that is Saul fell on his own sword. But this Amalekite thought he was going to get a reward. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan, his son. Now, Jonathan and David were best friends. So I can see him mourning for Jonathan. But it continues. Also, he bade them teach the children of Judah to use the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher, The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Askelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings, for there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, and the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives. Okay, were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Quite frankly, if I was in David's position, I couldn't see myself rejoicing over Saul's death. I could see myself feeling a bit of relief. But as far as eulogizing Saul, to say that he was pleasant in life, oh no, I'm going to tell the truth. Either I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to remain silent. And sometimes silence, it speaks volumes. But David said that they were lovely and pleasant in their lives, despite the amount of times that Saul tried to kill David. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothe you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was more wonderful, passing the love of women. And David loved women. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished. So David lamented their deaths, to include King Saul. I say again, if I was in David's position, I couldn't see me celebrating the death of an enemy, especially one who is probably on, I'll just say, his or her way to hell. But I certainly am not going to speak highly of someone simply because he or she has passed away. Your life becomes your legacy. And if you're hearing this message today, you have a chance, if you are living a life that is not going to create a good legacy, to change it. If you are doing things that are unfavorable to the Lord, today is a great day to repent, because tomorrow is not promised. Saul tried to kill David so many times. When Saul died, which was the Lord's judgment against him, David lamented. And by the way, let's not forget, David had a lot of gain from Saul's death, because the Lord had anointed David to replace Saul as king. If you're facing a similar situation, just remember what a proverb says about do not rejoice when you see the Lord imposing judgment against your enemy or enemies, whatever the case may be. God bless you.